Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about Doctor Strange. I will give like a little disclaimer that Marvel, DC, those movies are not usually at the top of my list to go see. I very much like the ones like the original Iron Mans, like the first couple of Iron Mans that came out. Ant-Man I really liked. I prefer the Marvel movies that have that silly sort of humor in them in the stories. Like Deadpool would be kind of, you know, the ones that I enjoy. I don't end up seeing all of them, which for Marvel ends up kind of being detrimental to being able to follow that franchise, because none of them really are like very good standalone films. You kind of have to see all the little twists and turns and curves and things and, you know, catch up on everything in order to really understand what's going on. So I will say I went into Doctor Strange kind of completely blind in that I didn't watch WandaVision, and I don't intend to like go back and watch it. It wasn't something that I was interested in seeing. So I went into Doctor Strange having absolutely no clue that Scarlet Witch had kids at all of any kind. So the whole premise of the movie, and there will be spoilers here just to, you know, going forward, I'll probably spoil quite a bit of this. I went into Doctor Strange really like going to see the movie because I wanted to see the trailer for Avatar that they promised to play kind of before the movie, because I'm one of 12 people that is super excited to go see the new Avatar film. But I had no idea really what Doctor Strange was going to be about or any of the stuff from WandaVision that had happened earlier to that. So from just the trailers, I walked in thinking that the villain of the story would be like a version of Doctor Strange, right? That's kind of where I thought like zombie Doctor Strange came into it, was that it was sort of this evil version of himself from a different multiverse that he then had to battle against to kind of, I don't know, save the universe from himself. I don't know. That's kind of what I thought I was walking into, and it turned out to be something completely different. So the whole premise of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is that there is this new character that is introduced, America, who I wasn't the biggest fan of. I just didn't see the point of her I mean, she has the ability to jump multiverses, which is why she was in there, but they could have replaced her character to me with like an object, let's say, like a tool that allows you to jump multiverses, and the movie would have been the same. Like, I don't think she added or subtracted anything really to the film itself. She was fine. She's a fine actress. I just didn't think she lent anything additional to the story in terms of her character growth or, you know, anything like that. But so she can skip multiverses. So really what it's about is from WandaVision, Scarlet Witch kind of discovers that her children that she thought was a dream were actually just her kids in a multiverse, right? That they had been they either weren't hers in this lifetime or they were taken from her in this lifetime, something of that effect because of Vision's death. So she decides that she wants to use America in order to be able to like jump multiverses and get to a multiverse where she can be with her children. Here is where I struggle bust it with the film. The casting for the kids, and I did not watch WandaVision, and this would have been something that would have killed WandaVision for me for sure, is that the kids that played in Doctor Strange were not the greatest child actors I've ever seen. I found them a little annoying. So the entire concept of the film is that she wants to be with them, and I can only think, but why? Like, you have this life where they're not super annoying and you know, following you around and begging for things. And I don't know, maybe that's the experience of just having kids 24/7. I don't have any children, so I don't know what that's like. You know, I can't relate to her in that aspect. But But she really just kind of goes on this Scarlet Witch murder spree, which makes sense. But I was super excited to see her. Not that she doesn't make a very good villain, but I kind of thought she was going to be like a good guy that helps Doctor Strange. Like I was excited to sort of see her use her powers to help him defeat, maybe multiverse of different stuff. And it turns out that she's the thing that they need to defeat. And it's sort of, she defeats herself, really. Like the whole entire thing is like no one can stop her. And she ends up like stopping herself essentially at the end, which fine. But then I've just watched 2.5 hours for really just to discover that no one can defeat the Scarlet Witch, which I'm fine with because I like her. But there's a lot of things, obviously, because they're just jumping around different multiverses that are completely different. They did a lot of sort of showing, I think, what future movies are going to be. And one of those was John Krasinski, I think, is going to redo Fantastic Four. And for whatever reason, I love A Quiet Place. That movie franchise, like, I'm all in. I'm 100% for it. But John Krasinski, like, I find it very difficult. He just has one of those faces that I find it very difficult to take him seriously. So when he's like in the leotard and like doing, he's trying to be like one of the Fantastic Four, I'm just giggling the entire way through it because I'm like, I can't picture him as being like a serious superhero in any way. I just sort of see him on The Office, I see him just kind of being silly and being quirky, and that's kind of, the way that I envision him. So it was a little bit odd. To see him in that, but overall, I think Doctor Strange was fine. I certainly enjoyed it a lot more than what I expected to. I just think that there were maybe some gaps in the story that maybe really what it all comes down to is the gaps in the story are just things that were filled in other movies that maybe I didn't see, because I've skipped a lot of them. I think I saw like the first Thor, didn't watch the majority of those. I'll go and see one or two here or there where I'm interested, but I certainly don't watch all of them. So if Doctor Strange is one of those things where you needed to have watched a whole bunch of things in order to get it, I missed it for sure. I kind of need more standalone movies because I'm probably not gonna, watch every single one of them unless I'm super, super interested in them. And I'm just not super, super interested in every single Marvel character, unfortunately. So let me know what you thought of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family. If you want to follow my adventures at Fan Expo Denver, do follow me on Instagram. Fan Expo Denver will be the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of July, and I will be there kind of seeing celebrities and seeing cosplayers, and I'll try and video as much of that on Instagram as possible and let you guys see. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next episode.